2025 to order. Jean, roll call, please.
Councilor Burlingame.
Here.
Councilor Calisi.
Here.
Councilor Greathouse.
Here.
Councilor Steer.
Here.
Councilor Worthy.
Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight I think there's a majority of people here this evening wants to speak to something that's not on the agenda, so while I'm going to ask for a motion to move item 14, open forum, to our next agenda item. That way we give everybody an opportunity to speak on whatever they have to say.
I make a motion to move item number 14 to now.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So what we're going to do is we'll give everybody an opportunity to speak. All I ask is that we're not going to have a timer or anything, but I am going to allow everybody to speak and say what they have to say, as long as, let's keep it short and to the point, okay? Let's keep it civil, and we're looking forward to hear what everybody has to say. So when you do come up, first of all, I would ask you to raise your hand to be recognized, and ask you to come up to the podium here, and then state your name and your address, okay? So I have some names here already. We'll start with Erin McPhee.
My name is Erin McPhee. I am on 43 Windsor Road in Foster. I am the Glocester GTO co-president. I've been the art teacher in this district for 39 years. Most of you do know me. I probably had you, or I've had your children, or I might even have your grandchildren. If you don't know me, you know me through my students' work. Each year, hundreds of pieces of artwork hang in this town hall. I bring the work here because I believe the schools belong to everyone in this town, and that even those citizens and taxpayers without children should see what our schools give the kids in this town. It is obvious why we are all here tonight. We are upset, we are worried, we are heartbroken. I did want to address Mr. Worthy because he was at our school committee meeting of the other night. And so I did not want to restate the points I had already said at that meeting. But I will say this, I have made it to the top of the seniority list. I am the oldest person in the district now. I have been around for a very, very long time. I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I have never seen it this ugly. Never have I witnessed the numbers of cuts to both staff and programs as we are realizing now. And we are already functioning and have been in a decline of staff and time. We've been doing more and more for less and less for years. We have brought for you tonight the packets that we presented to the school committee. We would like to hand these out to you. We are hoping that you will read them. We are hoping that this will help you and the school committee to literally be on the same page. The information that you will find in these packets are testimonies, stories, and lists of all the things we do above and beyond our normal workday. We hope that you will find some of this information enlightening. You may find some of it educational. You may find some of it very disturbing. I think what you will find is that the taxpayers of Gloucester truly get their money's worth out of us. And I just hope that you and the committee can come together to find a solution and to be on the same page for the students, the children, and the staff in our schools. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the list, we have Jason Whitford.
Good evening. My name is Jason Whitford. I live at 28 Whitford Way, Gloucester, Rhode Island. I'm here to speak to you tonight as a taxpayer, a resident of Gloucester for 46 years, and a teacher and town employee for the last 25. I'm here tonight to address the current problem we have here in town. For many years in this town, there has been an ongoing battle between town council, local school department, and the regional school department over funds. I have firsthand watched this battle take place and continue year after year. The elephant in the room or in town is that the regional budget is voted on in March. The operating budget for the town is voted on in May. This results in the council and budget board and school department left to create a budget with what is left to run the town. However, I question the financial decisions and actions that have been made in this town. 15 years ago, then Finance Director Tom Manville told the town council that this very day would be coming if they did not change the ways the budget was being funded. Specifically, he addressed the local school budget. State aid was being cut. The annual use of schools fund balance to offset the increases needed in the budget would cripple the school department and result in a financial crisis, which is what we have today. Yet, the council continually chose not to give the school department any or minimal increases in funding. When increases were given, they were not given on the maintenance of effort all of the time. Instead, given as one-time increases resulting in the school department starting with the same budget each fiscal year, resulting in a larger deficit. The school department administration has worked hard year after year, using COVID money until that ran out. The ever-decreasing reserve funds and title money to help absorb increasing costs. You also have employees like myself who went 6 years with no raise. We saw increases in medical copays. We even took on a deductible when we were told everyone in town as well as the region were going to take it. Thankfully, we no longer have that deductible. This town has the 6th lowest cost per pupil spending in education in the state. Yet, you have 2 of the best elementary schools in the state, thanks to the hard work of administrators, teachers, and teaching assistants. For years, we have been asked to do more and more with less and less. Now, you're asking the school department and its employees to do even more with next to nothing. Major cuts in staff, cuts to interventionists and TAs during a time when our children need more and more services. Now, you have a budget where there's a $1.2 million deficit. You say you have no money, and figures have been pointed between the school committee and the town council over whose fault it is. This being a result, a lot of it, from out-of-district placements, busing costs out of district, and these are unpredictable costs along with more unfunded mandates from the state and RIDE. Meanwhile, you have one of the largest taxpayers in town who was not paying taxes on time, and now there's pending litigation. A program where we have been paving private roads for 15 years that do not even belong to the town of Glocester. There was a budget board member who decided himself at the budget meeting to award $250,000 increase to the land trust because he felt, quote, bad because they had not received an increase in a couple of years. Mind you, this is all land that has been approved to be taken off the tax roll for open space. Yet, we continue to ignore and underfund the local school department. Over 15 years, the town council has given $1 million towards the maintenance of effort. This averages out to $66,666 a year on a $7 million budget. However, during this time frame, how much priority has been put into the education of students of the very taxpayers in this town? I ask, where is the money coming from to pay for the 2% and 4% raises for town employees, pave roads, and etc.? So I ask, what is your plan? Telling department heads to cut their budget every year, that's not a plan. So I ask, did any of the council members reach out to our state senator or state representative to ask for a bill to exceed the 4% cap? If so, who did it and what did they say? According to Mr. Worthy, you did reach out to the state and you were denied. However, talking to representatives, that's not the case. You say your surplus account is for emergencies, rainy days. Don't say you don't have the money. There is money. Right now, the town and the school department have a serious emergency. As a taxpayer, I'm asking you to use the money for this emergency. You say you cannot go below the 4% because of the charter. Where does this say it, and why? Do the charter police come? So I ask again, what is your plan? As a taxpayer, and all of the other taxpayers in this room, we deserve to know what the plan is. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing what your plan is.
Mr. Whitford, question for, which representatives did you speak to?
Excuse me?
Which representatives did you speak to?
When I reached out to Mr. Chippendale this morning in an email, there was
Okay.
no record of anyone reaching out to the senator or the Senator De La Cruz and Chippendale.
So
So
just,
I
just for the
asked-
record, our finance director reached out to the state to see if we could exceed the 5% cap, the 4% cap.
Representatives don't make that decision.
But the
So-
bill can come from a representative to ask for an increase over 4%, is my understanding.
No, I don't believe that's the case.
You can speak directly to the state, Department of Municipal Affairs, and I believe that's who you contacted.
Okay, but has any of the members on this board reached out?
No, we had our finance director reach out because it was coming down to the last minute and we were trying to find a way to help.
We didn't sleep.
The state said no. It did not qualify to, the situation did not qualify.
So a $1.2 million deficit in the school department.
It
It's
didn't
not an
qualify.
emergency.
Didn't qualify.
They said it wasn't an emergency.
So who in the state said we couldn't do it?
Who?
That's what I'm asking.
It's the State Department of Municipal Affairs that runs all municipal cities and towns.
State Department of Municipal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clear that up. So
Okay.
thank you for bringing that forward.
Yep.
Next we have Tasha Eldican.
So unfortunately, I came up here to address Mr. Worthy, but I'm assuming, is this recorded?
Yes.
And so he will watch it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, and I'm gonna address you guys as well, you can let him know. I will probably let him know also. So I'd like to start by saying that when this journey started, I told you I would be holding everybody accountable, so here I am. Mr. Worthy, I recently became aware of your remarks regarding opposing proposed bill that you would ban the sale, possession, and use of assault weapons. In addition, urging everyone to call your House of Representatives and the Speaker. In your remarks, you expressed concern that such legislation would unfairly impact your business, stating it would affect 60% of the firearms you sell, and by extension, your income. Your words struck me, because while you're concerned about losing part of your income, tomorrow when the superintendent walks through that door, I will be losing 100% of my income. Not just mine, my family's too. Liam, Kara, and Bill will all be affected. Every school year begins the same way for us with Alice Training, led by the Gloucester Police Department. We prepare for the unimaginable, an active shooter in our school. Do you know who I am in that scenario? I am one of the people on the front lines protecting the children that I love. And here's the painful truth. I will not be there anymore. In your testimony, you also emphasized the importance of improving mental health services as a more effective approach. I agree. Mental health care is essential. But let me remind you, that too is part of my job. Somewhere between calming a child in crisis, teaching math in small groups, supervising lunch, jumping rope at recess, I support students emotionally, academically, and socially. We recognize the warning signs, we see the red flags, we speak to kids who feel unseen, who feel isolated, we de-escalate, we intervene, we report. All of this is what teachers and teaching assistants do quietly and consistently. Tell me what this will look like next year when those 23 staff positions are not filled, 13 of them being teacher assistants. I heard a rumor, you may be running for Senate. If that's true, I ask you this, how will you be able to look me in the eye and ask for my support when you have failed to give 100% of your effort to protect our schools, our students, and the educators who dedicate our lives to them. Thank you.
Next we have Patty Frenza, I think that's, is that? Frenza, I'm sorry.
Patty Freneza, 55 Francis Road, Gloucester. Tonight I'd like to talk to you about numbers, specifically the number 13. That's the number of instructional teacher assistants that are being laid off from the 2 elementary schools here in town. 13 who will no longer provide an income or medical benefits to their families. Why? Because the town council and the school committee could not work together, putting us in this abysmal situation. What we do know is this: town council did not allocate the amount of monies necessary to the school committee to finance our 2 elementary schools, leaving 13 instructional teacher assistants without a job. I need you to understand, 13 isn't just a number. It represents the many hardworking, dedicated, highly qualified, and specially trained teacher assistants that will lose their jobs. Gone. I'd like to read their names so you can put a face to the number assigned to them. Tommy Cullen. She's not here tonight because 2 days ago she became a first-time new mom, and she's also the benefit holder. Ashley Ledoux, a Pontiac High School graduate herself, has 2 little girls, one attending Fogarty, one at PMS, and she's a town taxpayer. Amanda Goddard, 2 children, one that attends Fogarty and one at the middle school. She's the benefit holder and a town taxpayer. Kristen Fasadi, 2 little girls who attended Fogarty, one who is being promoted to PMS this month. She's the benefit holder and a town taxpayer. Kristen Fecto, 2 children, one leaving Fogarty to go to the middle school next year and one entering Pontiac High School in the fall. Benefit holder and town taxpayer. Jackie Thurber, who chose employment in this town because she knows how great our schools are and she loves working with children. She's also a benefit holder. Hope Curry, 2 children, one son at Pontiac High School and a daughter who graduated from Pontiac High School and attends URI. Benefit holder and town taxpayer. Lori Ferreira, son is leaving Fogarty this month to enter Pontiac Middle School in the fall. She's the benefit holder and a town taxpayer. Jen Pezza, 2 children, one attending college in the fall, the other daughter, a former Pontiac High School graduate who attends URI. She's the benefit holder and a town taxpayer. Tasha Elderkin, 2 children who attended West Gloucester, now we're both at Pontiac High School, benefit holder and town taxpayer. Jera Sedzik, 3 children, one at Pontiac Middle School, one at the high school, and one who graduated Pontiac last year and is now attending Rick. She is the benefit holder for her family. Hillary Goen, 3 children who received diplomas from Pontiac High School. One's attending Rick, another attending URI, and one working in the family business. Benefit holder and town taxpayer. Kelly Aruda, a 15-year dedicated employee. 2 adult children, both graduates from Pontiac, one who attended CCRI and works in a law firm, and her other daughter, a bank auditor. Benefit holder and town taxpayer. The majority of our teacher assistants live in this town and are part of its community, have children who are either in the school system or who have graduated from Pontiac High School. These are the 13 teacher assistants that are being cut due to absolutely no fault of their own. Many of these TAs chose this career, not for the money, but to work with children and to be on the same schedule as their own kids.
They are your fellow townspeople, taxpayers. These are the 13 staffers who will no longer be there to greet your child with a smile, help them with their academics, engage with them in social interactions, and protect them from any and all harm. I will be one of the few left to deal with this immense fallout this change will bring to our two schools. So I respectfully ask why? Why won't you work together with the school committee and fund the schools in Gloucester and provide a safe learning environment for all our students? What is your plan?
Trustee Miller?
Hi, my name is Tracy Miller. My daughter is Isabella Miller, who is a graduate last year at Ponteganza High School. She has been with the Glocester facility since preschool. And we actually had an incident due with money last year for my daughter to graduate. She was told she could not graduate at Ponteganza High School because due to a personal issue with the divorce and the selling of the house, we had to move. And I had gotten a call the day before my daughter was to attend her senior year and was told not to come to school. It took me 2 months of fighting with the superintendent of Gloucester. It took about 4 or 5 interviews with Channel 12 just to get this looked at and to place my daughter where she belongs, where she was comfortable, where she's attended school since she was 3. It was not her fault that we had to move. I am here to support all these aides. Most of these aides took care of my daughter in the elementary school. My daughter has learned more in the elementary school than she has learned in the middle or the high school. And that is why she transitioned out and is not coming back to the high school. I just want to stand and say that my daughter missed out on a lot. It was not fair, and it came down to the yearbook, where she wasn't even in the yearbook as a senior, which goes to show you that I don't believe that they are looking out for the best interest of the child. I believe at this time, this is the second time, because of money, that this superintendent is going to be, needs to be held accountable. This is 2 years in a row. Children need to come first. Children with disabilities need to come first. And like I said, my daughter, who is here today, would not be the person she is if she did not have these aides at West Gloucester. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. So that's all I have on the list. Would anybody, if anybody else would like to be heard, just please raise your hand and then you can come up and say what you have to say.
I'll come up.
My name is Kayla Silva. I live at 2222 Putnam Pike, Gloucester, Rhode Island. And I gave a speech the other night. Everybody in this room has heard it except for you guys. I'm not going to repeat my speech again. My daughter was an 8-year-old, wanted to give a few words. She had wrote a speech tonight, but I would not let her come because I thought this would be past her bedtime. So I'm going to write to you what she had wrote. She said, "My mom asked me, what would school be like without TAs? And I said, it would be awful, not good at all. When we get to school in the morning, the TAs are the first people we see. They say hi to us and help us get ready for the day while our teachers are in our classrooms awaiting us. They always make me feel very welcome. In class, the TAs collect our homework and sometimes they're often grade it. We break into groups a lot to do learning, and I'm usually in a TA group. That way the teacher can help the kids who need help more. The TAs also help kids with special needs so they can learn with everyone else. Our school is so all about being inclusive and including everyone. So why are we excluding our TAs? They're also with us at lunch and recess. The committee may think that there are too many of them, but I know each and every single one of my TAs. I don't think we have too many. I think we have just enough. If you don't believe me, you should follow a TA for a whole day
and see just how much they do. I invite this whole committee to follow a TA for a day. And like I said, she's not here, but my mom told me, I'm proud of you for wanting to talk and stand up for what you believe in. I want a bright future here in the Glocester School District, and I'm just hoping you'll help me speak up for something so important and fight for my future. Thank you for my time, Sophia Silva.
Good job, Sophia.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Maura Babbitt. This is off the cuff. I apologize. I'm the speech and language pathologist at West Glocester Elementary School. I do not live in Gloucester, but I grew up in Gloucester since I was an infant, and we moved out about 20 years ago. I'm here to speak for the children with special needs. I feel like something needs to be said for these kiddos. I've worked in West Gloucester since 2002. I've been a speech and language pathologist since 2000. I work with children, as does my colleague in the other Fogarty Elementary School, with children who are nonverbal, with children who have language disorders. They don't understand language, they can't express themselves. They get frustrated because they can't express themselves. I have students who are nonverbal who need to learn how to use what we call a talker. And right now it's an iPad that has a special program on it. And the only way these children can learn to speak and communicate is through modeling, through practice. I can't be with these kids all the time. I have 40 to 45 children on my caseload. Many of them have significant needs in the preschool program up until 5th grade. I depend on these teacher assistants to carry over. I spend many, many hours working with staff and teacher assistants on how to model for these children, how to work with these children, how to practice using these systems with these children. And if it weren't for these TAs in this room, there are many, many children in our town with significant communication needs, receptive and expressive language needs, learning disabilities, who would not be able to communicate. And can you imagine having a child who is nonverbal, who can't communicate, and I can't teach them that twice a week for half an hour? These children need our support, and they need the support of these teacher assistants. We all work together, and we have for the last 20 years, and if it weren't for these teacher assistants, we wouldn't be able to have children in our town be so successful. Also, many of these children who have communication needs, we don't think about it, but if you can't communicate, you get frustrated. And how hard is it to not be able to say what you want to say? And then that leads to behavior problems, and significant frustration leads to aggression. And if you can't communicate, what do you have? And if it weren't for our teacher assistants to help these children with these significant needs, we would be in a very challenging position. So, thank you.
My name is Crystal Bergantine. I am the Assistant Executive Director at the NEA Rhode Island. I had no intentions on speaking tonight. I represent the Gloucester Teachers Association. But I would be remiss if I didn't ask some clarifying questions. Are you aware as a town council that you are empowered to go over the cap on your own unless your town charter tells you otherwise?
That's not the law that we have to take.
Okay, so
Which law is that?
the law as we understand it,
No, which law is the?
I don't have the law,
Okay.
I don't have the,
Also, we can
the
research it.
number, but the way we understand it is unless your town charter says otherwise, as Providence's does, you are empowered to go over the cap on your own. If you go to the state, you have to have a bill put into the General Assembly that must vote on that bill to increase your cap. So we will be putting in a lot of information requests, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. But it just so I'm clear, and
Bottom of.
who went to the state?
I just told you who went.
So it was your finance director, and what is his name? Her name?
Elizabeth Beltram.
And she went to the Division of Municipal Finance, the State of Rhode Island Division of Municipal Finance. She just picked up the phone, called them, hey, can you let us go over the cap? Nothing in writing.
That I can't tell you right now.
Okay. You could be expecting a lot of APRA requests from the NEA.
So what I would ask also, since you represent the union,
Yes.
I would ask that you know, we talked about state representatives, if you could do something to help us. And what I mean by that is, the unions have a lot of power in this state.
You're right, we do.
And I would hope that there's a lot of, somebody brought up unfunded mandates, that's crushing the schools and us. If you could work with your legislators to get rid of those unfunded, or have the state fund those.
We do have a
we
lot
would
of
have more
power,
money.
but why should it be the unions always picking up the pieces of the town?
No.
Always.
No,
we
that's not,
clean
no.
up messes, we break things that we fix things that you break, and it's just, what are you going, what is your plan?
Are you gonna fight for us?
What is your plan to properly fund the school
We
district?
are not the enemy.
I'm not saying you're the enemy, I'm asking
I
what
feel
your
that way
plan
right
is to properly fund the school district.
Why don't you ask the superintendent that question?
We already did.
let's do
Now
it
we
again.
are here because we went to the school committee first. You're next.
Well,
We asked the
Yeah.
superintendent. The superintendent said that, and the school committee said that the
Yeah, so
town
let's
didn't give
keep
them
on
the
point,
proper
let's keep
money.
on point. So, thank you, so thank
Okay,
you for your
thanks.
points. Thank
You
you.
know, and just to,
Would anybody else like to be heard? All right, so I thank you all for coming. Look, I'm gonna I don't want to speak for everybody here, but it's a terrible situation. No two ands, ifs, or buts about it, right? Nobody wants to see this happen. I will tell you, just to clarify some things, what we've done as a council. And we've worked with the school committee in this budget cycle, all right? They came to us, I think they came to the budget board for like a $2 million ask, right?
Yes, it was.
It was like, and the budget board, and so the budget board worked it down to, I think it was about 800,000. Well, that's the shortfall. So long story short is that we did come up with 6% increase for the schools this year. We did come up with going to the state to see if we could go over our levy of 4%, and we did. Well, you can say that, but we did. Yeah, this is the second time this week I've been called a liar, but that's okay. So we did do that.
But as parents, what are we supposed to tell our children when they're uncomfortable going to school without their aids?
Again,
it's not fair to them.
we approve a bottom line budget that goes
But
to the
again,
voters.
it's about money. We want to hear what's going to be benefit for the children.
We all do. Absolutely we do. It may not seem like that up here, but we do.
But like I said with my daughter, if she didn't have her specific aids, she wouldn't even want to go to school. Some of these children rely on these aids every day.
Understood. Totally get it.
and again, you know,
But the only ones that are going to be missing out is the children with special needs. That's the
Again,
only ones that are getting hurt.
we don't make that decision now. We don't make that decision.
you know, when the ask was for a $2 million increase and the maximum amount of the budget we can increase for the entire town is $1 million, it's difficult to get to that. Obviously, it's impossible to get to that.
So my question becomes, what are you going to do to generate revenue for this town? Because this problem is not going away, it's gonna continue to get worse. So what are we doing as a town to generate revenue so that we can add money to our budget, so that we can fund all departments, the police, the highway department, town hall, the rec, the libraries, the school departments? Where's the revenue gonna come from? What's the plan? That's my question.
And that's, you know, that's a question too, like, you know, do you want the town, somebody said at the end of the meeting, you know, why do we bring in a lot of big business like Smithfield? But I think a lot of people like to live in this town because we don't have those big businesses in here. So what do? We've raised taxes, we've raised the levy 4% the past 2 years. 4%. That's
funded the school for so many years that they couldn't pay their bills.
Well, they've been running at a deficit the last 3 years.
Because of out-of-district placements.
So
busing,
that's
and
my
everything else.
point. To your point, that's an excellent point, Mr. Whitford, because that's why I just asked for help from the union
But
to
Mr.
help
Steer,
with
I'm
those.
gonna say this.
Please come up here and just say it, that's all, so we get it on record.
Here's the issue. You have out-of-district placements
Yeah.
because of safety reasons. You let these 13 people go, along with the teachers that you've, along with the
Not us,
teachers. Wait,
not us.
wait. If the town cannot find a way, along with the school department, to find a way to keep these people in town, in their jobs, you are going to have a lot more out-of-district placements. Out-of-district busing, out-of-district placements, to the tune of about 100 to 120,000 per student. Because these very students, yes, in elementary school, pose physical threats to themselves, to other students, and to these very people sitting in the room. So if you think they're running a deficit now, wait till next year.
Yeah, sure. All right, you have anything to add? So,
You know what? I have one thing.
sure.
I swore I wasn't gonna say it. It's little. I have one question.
I'm sorry, your name?
Doris Riley.
Thank you.
Yes, I work at Fogarty, and I live in Forster. One simple question. I have been told that we have a school department liaison on this board. Who is that?
That's me.
So, Mr. Burlingame, I think I knew the answer to that question before I asked, but I thought I'd ask it anyway, because we go way back.
We do. I was on the school committee.
You were. Mr. Burlingame, what are you doing now for us? You know this is crisis time. You know, John,
I know.
you know the value of these people.
I do.
You,
I worked with all of you guys.
You did?
I do, and listen, if there's anything, we tried, okay, Doris, you know I tried. We tried to figure things out, it's just, if we don't have the funds to do it, what can we do?
but John, we're a school. We don't make money.
I know,
right?
I
We're
know.
not a business. You have to, what does it say? Oh, fund our schools. So,
Well, the residents fund, the taxpayers fund the school.
I know, it's your job, and your taxpayers are here. You're
But we
laying
don't,
off
we
the
don't
very
create the
people
budget
that
for
are.
the schools, Doris, we don't. We don't.
You fund the schools,
The
correct?
taxpayers fund the schools.
Exactly.
Find the money.
We,
Mhm.
Take away from the schools doesn't work. So is the goal to have police presence in the schools more?
so I'm just gonna say one thing. Mr. Whitford brought up a good point about the behaviors. If you've been in the school, I know you, hello. I know you. I know you from speaking before. I know how I know you. I know how I know you. I know how I know you. Mr. Whitford talked about these students that would be displaced, outplaced. 100 to 120,000. That's 3 TAs that keep them in your school. If you think for 1 minute that those children are not in that school now and can stay there because of these 13 TAs, then you are sorely mistaken. That's all I want to say. But that's your job, John. I don't want to give up on you.
I know, Doris, I know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natasha Hamlin. I live at 28 Oakview Terrace. I'm coming up here to follow a couple of the people who just came up as a parent of a special needs child who has behaviors, who is able to stay in school and has done well because of the TAs. And I know you're gonna hear it over and over, and I know it's repetitive, but it's the truth. And it's honest, and it's from our hearts. My son could be an out-of-district placement because he's lost 3 of the 4 TAs in his special education room for next year. What if his IEP is not upheld? RIPIN gets involved, lawyers get involved. If you think for 1 second that the special needs parents are ready, and we haven't had to ever, in my experience personally, I have never had to walk into an IEP meeting like so many of my special need mother peers and parent peers who have to go in ready with their binders and all their information with a lawyer, with a representative, parent advocate. I have never had to walk into that room and ever question them questioning me, I ask questions. It is a relationship. What you put in is what you get out. And what these wonderful human beings have put in, they are not getting back. What my special needs child is going to have next year is up for question. It is very scary as a parent in this. I moved here for this school system, and then I ended up having a special needs child. The fact that I have to question if I have to take him out of this school district or move, because as someone who works in state finance and budget for Rhode Island, I don't understand how we got here, and I don't know how we're gonna get out. Because this is not a 1 year thing, right? That's laughable. This is not a 3-year plan. Minimum 5 years. This is a 5-year goal, 10-year even, to make sure that we don't circle back, right? I just want the awareness of what it's going to get worse because of the children that need all this help from these TAs. Just in the special ed classroom, now you're gonna have teachers that haven't been in that classroom or aren't used to that classroom. There's gonna be bigger behaviors. How can you assure these parents of safety following their state IEPs? And then on the flip side, my daughter, who is a regular child, special in her own way, very bright, but doesn't like to raise her hand, may need a little side group. She's not gonna have a TA in her first grade classroom next year. Why? Because I know for a fact the 4th grade is massive coming in. And they're gonna have 2 classrooms instead of 3. That's where the help's gonna go.
That's babysitting.
I just,
Special kids need it.
it's so scary to think my son, who's going into 2nd grade, through his 5th grade year, he could possibly not have the support. His IEP may not be followed, and not because they're not doing their job, but because they don't have the help or the resources or the guidance, or it takes time to be trained to do that. I just think there has to be something that can be done, and you can't fix this in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. But this also didn't happen in the last year. And we can't go backwards. We have to go forwards, and we have to think positively. But how can we think so positively when there is, when the school committee says, go to town council. This is the 2nd time. I was not at last night. I was in the hospital, sick. Okay, I couldn't be there last night. But every time there's an issue, and we're going to school committee, and you're telling us you need to speak to school committee. They're the ones who hold the power. And every time they go to town council. So they'll have the answers, or they're gonna be the ones you need to put forth. And I think it's 50-50. I think you need to be aware of how bad it is, but before it got bad, right? Before it was the deadline to hand in a budget. But we all knew it was coming. There has to be a plan, and I'm just begging both sides. Both sides. Do your friggin' jobs.
David.
Sir?
Can I just say something? Okay. Hi, Stephanie Calisi. I know many of the teachers here, and my heart goes out to everybody. I mean, the reason why my kids were in the school is because of many of you, and I know that Ms. Strick can attest to that. My nephews were special needs, and they wouldn't have made it through school had it not been for the teachers' aides, and we completely understand. I want to say we're not the enemy, and I don't think the school committee is the enemy. I think that where'd she go? Yes, Hamlin, that's all I can remember is Hamlin, because I keep on remembering your last name, because you're fantastic. Everybody's fantastic, everybody did a great job speaking. But we did go to the state. None of us slept after we left last time, and I know that Walter and Jeannie were here until very late in the night, and we were just all racking our brains because we don't want this to happen. And I don't know how to fix this right this second. If I had the money, I would just, whatever, but I don't. I do know that a lot of the stuff does need to be addressed at the state level. And I will gladly go with anybody up there. I'll hold a sign. I will hold the 13 sign because I agree, it's terrible. I'm looking at everybody and I feel, my heart goes out. No, I know that all of us feel the same way. We do need to do something, but I'm just letting you know, the people that know me in this room, we're not the enemy. We're really not. And I know I can speak for myself. I'll do what I can to help where I can, how I can. You want to go to the State House? Let's go to the State House. I'm not wearing a red shirt though. I'll wear a different color, but I will go to the State House with you guys. Because the unfunded mandates and all the stuff that the state throws in these bills, and they say, you guys pay, you guys pay, you guys pay, they're not thinking about all these people in this room, nor us, because they don't listen to us either. I'm a little bit upset with Rep. Chippendale for saying that nobody reached out to him, because I would think at the very least that when we did call that Office of Municipal, whatever they're called, that somebody would have been in touch with somebody since it's their district. So we'll get to the bottom of that, and maybe not, because you know what? The bills are done for this year. The budget's done. So maybe they're just, this is what's going to happen for now. We need to put more legislation in. Let's all go to the State House and try to stop the unfunded mandates. Stop all the incoming of the buses and all these outrageous fees that we just can't afford anymore. Sorry, take that for what you will. I just wanted to let everybody know that, and I know there's a lot of passion, because when it comes to kids, there's a lot of passion, because, God forbid you get in front of me and my kids, or my nephews, or anybody else. So I get it, and I applaud you guys for what you're doing. I commend you. You guys were all amazing speakers. Your daughter's speech was fantastic. My son wanted to come and speak today, and I told him to stay home, because he would have been out there for 25 minutes. But, and you guys are awesome. I know, I can speak for the whole group here that we do appreciate you, I promise. Nobody's ever said a bad thing, so I just want to say that, and I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry for everybody.
And I'm earnest when I ask for the union's help for these unfunded mandates.
We do mean it.
Because we do need the help. And it's not just this community, it's all the communities in the state are affected by this.
For somebody to come to us prior to, I found out 3 weeks ago that this was as dire as it is.
There does need to be more communication.
And I'm in contact every single day, and up right now with the AFL-CIO. They had no idea either. Ask.
Well, again, I would hope the school committee, I'm not pointing fingers, but, they deal with, they do. No, we don't deal with the schools, other than the final.
You tell them, when they say this is what we need, and you don't give it to them, what are they supposed to do?
We can only fund so much. I'm just telling you the facts. It's not that we don't want to. It's not that we don't want to. Somebody said it's not a one-year thing.
There has been some issues.
Yeah, probably for like 3 or 4 years.
I
Probably.
think it's the one, along with the 3
Maybe.
It's gonna float, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it.
It's been longer than that, it has.
It's been 15 years.
We're gonna get to the bottom of
I mean,
it.
I'll be honest with you, Jay, when I was on the school committee, I asked for money from the council, and I didn't get it.
I understand that.
I mean,
I'm just saying, and I know all of you have not been on this council. Mr. Steer, you've been on the longest, I believe. This has been going on back since like 2008, 2009. My question to you is, because I I can't seem to find it in the charter. And I realize your charter says you have to keep a certain percentage of your overall budget. While I realize you probably cannot make up a $1.2 million deficit in the school department this year, I ask you, you have a reserve fund, it's for emergencies. Why can't some of the money needed to retain people be taken from that? And is there something in the charter that you have to go to the taxpayers to take from it, to go below the 12%? Do you have to vote on it? You've got $4.2 million in the reserve or somewhere in that neighborhood. Where does it say, or how can some of that money be taken out for this emergency to offset the cost of, to offset the deficit? I'm not saying $1.2 million, and I realize you gave 6%, and I understand it. I pay $8,000 a year in taxes in this town. Don't worry, I understand. And for me, I pay more tax, I get a raise or something, I pay more taxes. I'm not getting the money. I'm asking, can money come from that reserve fund to offset the deficit this year? And I'm not a numbers guy, although I'm a good math teacher, as they tell me. When it comes to budgets and stuff, yeah, not as good. But Mrs. Hamlin came up and said this is not a one-year fix. I know that. I've been talking about this for years. I've been president of the union since I don't even remember when. I remember sitting with Tom Mandel. My question is, can money come out of that reserve fund? Can you break that percentage to help offset this deficit?
So the way it works is, to my understanding, is that with that 12%, right, that fund balance.
Yep.
That money is, so that money's set aside for, like, our budget didn't pass a few years back, right? So we had to use that money to run the town until the new budget was approved. Other things that the fund balance is used for in the past, for example, it's a large amount, it's $3 million over 5 years that we worked in and this is an important point, with the school committee to fund capital projects to fix up the schools. And we worked with them on that too. But that money, I believe, only can be authorized by the voters.
Okay. So I guess I'm asking, can we put it out to the voters to see if we can get some of that money to help offset this deficit? So I know as a taxpayer, we're all here, number one, because of the children. That's the bottom line. We're here for children. We're not in this business because we don't. My question is, can we put it out to the voters? I completely understand you can't take the 1.2 million or whatever the actual deficit is right now in the school. You said, you used it in the past when the budget didn't pass to help pay the difference for what you needed to run the town. The school department, the way it's set up, is part of the town. We fall under town finances because the town not generates, but the town, tax revenue from the town helps to pay for the school department. We are in the very situation you guys were in when the budget didn't pass a few years ago. So I'm asking, can we put it to the voters? You're gonna have to work out the numbers, I don't know that. Figure out a way, if the voters will approve, to get some money from that surplus account to help offset the deficit, so that moving forward, it's not gonna take 20 years to fill the gap, because we have to start somewhere in order to make up that gap, because that deficit is just gonna continue to grow. And that's my fear, and I think that's everybody's fear in this room.
Right, and it's our fear
yours
too,
as well.
Because, so my understanding is, if, let's say in a perfect world, the voters said, yes, we could use some of that money. What that does is create unfunded, it creates a structural deficit.
I understand that.
Which means next year, you're even a bigger hole to start, which.
The town or the school?
Both.
School. Okay.
The school and the town, because the school has to, the town has to fund that, and they might not be able to get to the 4% without cutting town services. I don't know the numbers, like off the top of my head like that.
I understand that.
that is,
So was a,
and we're
did
seeing
you
that.
call it a structural
I'm sorry, go ahead.
deficit? No, I'm sorry. So was a structural deficit created when you had to take money from the surplus account when the budget didn't pass a couple of years?
So that was just paid
No,
back, so that
it
was.
does
in
pay
antici-
back.
We didn't do
Yeah.
that, we do.
What do you mean it's paid back?
It was in
Well, we did
antici-
do payments, we did.
We never got to it.
we never got to tan, so basically,
I'm
because.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
Because the budget wasn't passed, we still have bills coming in.
Yeah.
We can't issue tax bills until the budget's passed. So when the budget fails, you have 45 days, is it, before we can do another budget. We still have to pay those bills, and we don't have any money coming in, we can't collect taxes. So that money was used to pay the bills until we get the money, until we could get a budget passed.
Okay.
Then the taxes came in, and then that money was put back. So it wasn't actually spent, it was,
Oh, it was spent, but it was
borrowed and
replaced.
was put back in, I guess, is the word. Because until we can get the tax receipts in, the town still had to operate. So instead of going out for loans, have the town go out for loans to pay the bills, that's what that reserve, I believe that's why they set the charter up like that.
So my question then becomes, can the town and the school department go out and look for a loan to help offset this deficit? 'Cause how are you going, I guess my question is, if you don't do anything right now, next year, that deficit's not gonna be 1.2. Let's be honest, it's not going to be. And we've already been told by the school committee, we're not getting raises, and we're gonna pay more in medical. So, we're not gonna be part of the problem, in a way. But my question is, costs of everything else go up, oil, electric, busing, whatever, cost of materials. So my question is, that 1.2 is gonna grow next year, how are you gonna make that up? Or is it just going to continue to get larger and larger and larger? How do we stop it? And how do we help to close the gap a little? That's my question. And that's what I was asking earlier with, what's your plan? Like, we can't just sit here and go like this. We need a plan, we
No,
need
but
somebody.
To your point, we don't develop a school district budget. That's what the school committee does, at the super, because they know, they understand the business, for lack of a better term. So we don't do that. So
Okay,
when they come to us, it's a bottom line budget.
okay, and they've given you a bottom line budget for
Right.
years. What I brought up earlier was, for over 15 years, the town council and the town gave the elementary schools $1 million. So $66,000 a year increase on average. For years, they didn't get it. $66,000 a year to offset the increases in costs. Our student population has not changed, in the last 6 years. The cost to educate students has gone up. $1 million on the maintenance of effort over 15 years is not enough in a $7 million budget. It's not enough. We're all feeling the pain. When we go to the grocery store, when we go to the gas station, when you go to buy clothes, whatever it is, we're all feeling it. The cost of education has gone up far more than $1 million in 15 years, okay? The council and the town have only given $1 million on the maintenance of effort. While I know you've given money here and there under the maintenance of effort, but the next year, the starting number on the budget starts at the same number. This $7 million budget has been the same starting point for the last 6 years. You were on the school committee, you know.
I'm agreeing with you, I understand.
But we have given money as well, not outside of that, because we've given money to offset loss of state aid.
I understand that, but
But it didn't go to maintenance of it.
it did not go to maintenance of
I
efforts.
agree with you. That was
So-
some questions that I had asked also when I was on.
So that's a problem. Yes, when we've overspent or whatever, you've given money underneath, but it's never gone to the bottom line of the budget or the maintenance of effort.
The past couple of years it has.
The last couple, but it hasn't been that much. Last year was a 3.5 ask and they got 0.58 or 0.53 or whatever it was. It was very small compared to what the ask was. And the problem is, this has been a long-term deficit that's been growing, and we've not done anything. So now here we are at the perfect storm, and that big wave's coming, and we're all gonna get washed away in it. So that's why I'm asking. Maybe the four of you don't have the answers right now, but we've gotta find the answers. You guys have been elected to the town council. part of that goes with, we need to find answers. We need to come up with a plan. Now, I know, John, you said we don't want it to look like Smithfield, but I know there's people in town who've sold out land and gone to bigger companies because we can't develop anything off the roads, or, you know, we're not asking for Amazon in the middle of a neighborhood, but, and I'm not certainly looking for it to look like Smithfield. I don't, but you need to come up with alternative means of producing income for the town. So I'm not asking for 44 or Bald Hill Road or Route 1 in Attleboro. If you don't have the money, we've got to come up with alternative revenue sources. So my plan is, as elected officials, what's the plan? I'm not asking for it tonight. I'm asking you, what are we going to do? Because this problem's not going away, and it's going to get worse. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I think this gentleman wanted to go first, and then we can have you. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Ariana Maples. I don't live in town, but I'm a 4th grade teacher at Fogarty Memorial School. I am a general education teacher. I just have a couple questions for you, because as I'm listening to all of these people talk, a couple things just keep going through my mind, and I can't find answers to them, so maybe you can help me. When my nonverbal student that I have in my classroom needs help unpacking and ordering lunch and trying to greet his classmates for the day, while I'm helping the rest of my 25 students, because I, for the majority of the year, was over capacity, who's going to help him? Okay. When my students are going to recess and I'm supposed to be eating my lunch, who's going to watch those students? Right? What about my student that I have in a wheelchair? During recess, usually some teacher assistant will wheel her through the sand, because our playground is not handicap accessible, through the sand, and will help transport her from her seat into the swing so that she can participate with the class, because if not, she just sits in her chair and watches the rest of the class play. Who is helping her get into the swing?
Ari, who's going to set up her ramp to get out during a fire because the schools aren't handicap accessible? A TA, every fire drill, puts out her ramp, holds the door, stops every child for that child to get out, and that TA will not be there next year.
One at a time, please. Yep. One at a time, please. Understood.
When I have reading groups, I separate my class into multiple groups. One of my TAs usually takes a group. If no TA takes a group, I am now rotating between 3 or 4 groups at the same time. Who's going to help me? Who's going to help my students who are below grade level? Who's going to challenge my students who are above grade level? Because, I mean, I think I'm a pretty good teacher, but I'm not magic. I can't separate my body in 4 pieces and go into 4 different groups. Or what about when a student, I'm whole group teaching, I have a student having an anxiety attack. It's happened this year. Who's taking her out of the classroom to make sure she's safe and calming down? All right? You guys are really helping me with this. Thank you.
Well,
I
we
know
don't.
you're looking for answers, because we just told you that we agree.
But,
I
yeah, but
understand,
that's not our purview. We don't know what happens in the classroom. That's the school.
But that's what I'm trying to teach you.
No,
I'm trying to teach you.
but that's not our job to understand that.
Okay. But it's also,
The bottom line.
I'm
bottom
sorry,
line,
sir, but
no,
it's
no,
also not my job to try to figure that out. Because now, without TAs, I have just 45 minutes a day, a prep period, to figure out how to reach all of these kids.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to stop you right there for a moment, because my wife is a special ed teacher in Boston, and we lost without a TA, and she deals with everything that you just mentioned, and I totally understand that.
So why are you doing it to us?
I'm not doing anything to you.
Then help us.
I outlined I outlined everything this board did. The school committee controls the schools, everything that happens in the schools.
They've asked for the money.
There's only so much money to go around. We gave everything that we could do.
So here's my last question, because I actually have much more, but we'll be here all night. So you just keep saying you can't. So what happens when I go to my job and I say I can't do my job without the help of these TAs?
You have to go to the school committee. We don't deal with those types of situations.
All I'm
as a
saying is,
board.
if I said I can't do my job, I get fired. So it sounds like you need to figure it out, because it sounds like you should probably get fired.
Would anybody else like to be heard? Sir?
Hi, my name is Scott Lynch, 1055 Snakeville Road. I am not part of the teachers' union, I'm not a teacher. I would like to argue, though, you said you're not magic. I'm pretty sure educators are, so that's a separate point. But, too many frustrations. My frustration with the conversations I've seen with the town council is not that you don't maybe, as an individual, see the problem. There seems to be a breakdown in how you're handling it. It's shown by your tone. I, as a parent, so I have a parent, I have a child at Fogarty, and I have a child who's about to enter Fogarty. Most of the people in my life who ask me for money, in my role, are my kids. So I'm going to frame it that way, right? So when my kids ask me for something that's a luxury, I say, hey, you know what? I tried to do it. I couldn't. I'm sorry. When they come to me because there's a need, there's a leak, a water leak in the bedroom, I go and say, there's no money. But that's not an answer. That's not an answer I can give when there's a leak in the bedroom, right? Through the roof. I say, there's no money. Okay, what's next? What's the next step? What's the next step to solving the problem? You said, hey, I understand, absolutely, you had the financial director reach out to the department, whose name I'm not going to remember. Sorry, not to be rude, but I don't have it off the top of my head. But you didn't say, this is our next step. They're saying find the money because they're asking, what's the next step? And you're saying, we did what we can. But that is not what is going, I get funding a small town is hard, but you're talking about their jobs like they're luxuries, not like their needs.
So what I would say is, and I know nobody wants to hear this, right? Nobody wants to hear this. But we don't make decisions at the school committee or for the schools. The school committee decided to make that decision about those 13 individuals.
I understand, I'm talking about overall revenue. You're talking about bottom baseline budget, absolutely. We're talking about you can only bring so much tax money. Great, you can only bring so much tax money. First of all, when they said no, when the department said no, who was your next call? Was it Chippendale? Who? First, I understand frustration with Chippendale about, hey, you know what, going and saying something and having you get caught by surprise in front of a big group of people. That would also frustrate me. But why didn't you call them first? De La Cruz, why didn't you call De La Cruz first? When they said no, who did you call next? And when you said, look, maybe taxes aren't the way that we can solve this problem, what else can we do? No, look, I get wanting to live in Glocester, not live in Smithfield. There are other ways other than, you're talking exclusively tax revenue in that sphere. Look outside. There are plenty of towns, I work in event production, there are plenty of towns that rely on event hosting to bring in tons of money. And I'm not saying we're going to build, the Saugus Arena in Lowell and here in Glocester, right? I'm not presuming that. But I'm saying it's that kind of creative thinking that is, you want a 3-year plan, you want a 5-year plan, that's where it is. It's not pulling money out of, well, I'm not saying we shouldn't pull money out of the emergency fund, I'm saying I understand what you're concerned about. I understand that you're saying we can't solve this right now, but there's no conversation about the 3-year or the 5-year plan. There's no conversation about, cool, we can't solve that this way, what's the next idea? I'm not seeing any creativity here. I don't feel like I'm seeing honest attempts to solve the 3-year, 5-year problem. I'm just hearing, we need one.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
So this isn't on so we're limited by what we can say and do right now because this is not on the agenda. It's not an agenda item where we can vote. All we can do is listen right now, and then
we can comment. But
we can't give answers because we can't.
And I understand restrictions around that. And I have not been as many town council meetings. Frankly, I usually work second shift.
Can we make a motion to vote on it next month?
Vote on what?
Like talking about the 5-year,
Putting it on the agenda.
Putting it on the agenda.
what's a 5-year plan gonna help with right now? The situation we're in right now.
That's where you get creative, and I'm not getting.
So I will say, there's gonna be discussions about having a town manager. And if we had a town manager, a lot of this 5-year plan would be in place, it would help a lot, so.
Where's the money coming from to pay the town manager?
Well, so you have to find out, you know, it's, anyway.
Anyway, that is my frustration on this situation. That's what I wanted to say.
All right, thank you. So anybody else like to be heard this evening?
Walter Steer, 1318 Putnam Pike. There's been a lot of miscommunication, and we all, you know, all these people were right, except for the union rep. She's the one that should be, you pay them dues. And we all know one of the big problems is out of district placements and transportation. The state's got us taking kids all over the place. The unions, her president is the Senate president now.
Yes, she is. Yeah. Yes, she is.
But the towns can send all the resolutions in they want about more funding for these mandates. We don't listen to them. You have numbers. The union has numbers. They could go down there, because the union bankrupt these people, bankroll these people to run. That's your money. You should be having that person go down there and get together and get people to go to the State House. Unfortunately, it's probably too late this year. But these problems, because these numbers are just going worse every year. And the taxpayers in the town, we just can't cover this ourselves. I go to a lot of meetings. Budget meetings, town council meetings, school committee meetings, and I find out a lot of stuff. You know, I don't want to bore you with it all tonight, but the schools have been in deficit for 3 years. I'm not going to put the blame anywhere, because the blame, there's a lot of blame to go all around. After the first year, it's in our charter, and I think it's probably a state law. When you find out that you're gonna be in a deficit, or you're not gonna have enough money to pay your bills, you're supposed to notify the state and the school town council and come up with a plan to solve that problem. I think they did contact the state once. But evidently, the problem wasn't solved. There was a plan at the beginning of this year. I think it was at the beginning, or maybe just at the, because at that time, they knew they were in trouble. They didn't have enough money. There was a plan they came up with to save $700 and some thousand, including getting rid of the 2 math interventionists, which I know, you know, they had a role, but they were during COVID, and that money had to come from somewhere, so that's a couple $100,000 right there. There's 2 or 3 of your jobs. And there was other savings, but also there was mistakes in the budget. Line items were left out, big line items. I don't know if you people all know that,
We get somewhere now.
but things could, if they would have, but I was at one of the budget meetings, and that plan was talked about, and it was not put into effect because they said it was going to affect the quality of education in the town. Now, I can't, you know, that may have been true, but what more You people lost your jobs. You're probably, in 2 years from now, you may not be able to come back here, you may have another job. These people got a tough job, the school committee has a tough job, but I really think, the ball was, mistakes have been made that shouldn't have been made. And
By who?
unfortunately,
By who? Not any of these people.
no, that's
By
true.
who?
It wasn't you people.
Who left the
You did your
line
job,
item?
you got paid, you did your
We're
job.
not having a conversation yet, we're having one person speak, thank you.
I just, I don't think tonight is the night to talk about this, but I think, I don't have a solution for the problem. It's a money problem, and like someone said, it may take a few years to get this straightened out. I'm sorry, I wish I had a solution, but I think this thing has gone on too long without being solved. It should have been solved maybe 2 years ago. And if it had been, there may have been some cuts, but it wouldn't have been anything like there is now. I feel awful about it, and I know you all do, because you're not to blame. You didn't take big raises, you do your job, we never had a grievance. I was on the school committee before, and I know we had a lot of grievances at the high school, but we never had any here. So, I just think there's no, I don't know, I don't have a solution for you. And, I know they've been doing all they can, that's all I got to say. I just, I feel sorry for you all.
Thank you.
You first and then Renee.
Hi everyone, my name is Blanca. I live on Pinecrest Drive, 114. I have 3 students in F. Fogarty. What I've sensed, one of my son has needs, and we moved to this town 12 years ago now. It's a wonderful town. I think we're all here because we love this town for what it is. We have some of the top-rated elementary schools in the district, as evidenced by all these staff members who are here to support that. Most of you probably know what a Venn diagram is, okay? Going to school committee meetings and town council meetings, we're pulling from the same pool of money. And it just feels like we're not understanding or compromising on the middle. And so my ask here is, we're right at the precipice of a very big storm where we could come out stronger from this as a town and a district, or it could really set us back. Fogarty is 12th in the state for an elementary school. 12th. Our property values are valuable because we have excellent school systems. And we're not in East Greenwich, we're not a Barrington. We are a nice, small town of good people. So, we need to meet in the middle and come out ahead and come out with a plan, right? Many of us have probably gone through financial difficulties. We're like, oh crap, I'm in way more debt than I need to be. How do I get myself out of it, right? And you figure your way out. I paid my way through college. I was broke as heck at 20, right? But you work your way through. So how do we figure out a plan to work together as a town to keep our schools excellent, to empower our schools? Our schools are great, but as you heard, we still have a lot of improvement to do. And that we all benefit from great schools. We all benefit from a great town. And we just need to come together and stop looking at it as go here or go there. We need to come together and come with a solution and a long-term plan. And I think that if you put it to vote, I think many of us, I would happily pay increased taxes if we have a solid plan that says here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to maintain what we need to maintain, and here's how we're going to get forward, and here's how we'll ultimately be ahead. Let's get creative on solutions to build more revenue. A lot of homes that are selling, right? People have been in those homes for 30 or more years, and it's young families moving in. We're bringing in a whole new generation here. Let's support that. Let's keep Gloucester what it is, and let's work together on this. current superintendent of Gloucester, resident of the town, also superintendent of Foster Gloucester. But I'm speaking in my capacity as superintendent of Gloucester. I just want to clarify a few things before I respond to some others. The deficit question, I'm not sure if the year started in a deficit. I was hired after that. But I do know that in April of this year, we were notified right before the budget proposal hearing, and we were notified that we're at a $500,000 deficit. Remember, we worked hard. We were able to hopefully not end this year in a deficit. The question went to the taxpayers to get that final 150, and I believe the report is that we are not in a deficit ending this fiscal year. However, moving into next year, there's that difference that we're hearing of, the school department has to, the school department makes that budget, which we do. And everyone is saying not blame, and there can't be blame right now. It's not about who did what wrong. It was a perfect storm, and I know I can't answer some questions, but the town did not have a business manager or a finance director to manage some of the budget lines, and that was kind of the perfect storm we talk about. We did recognize that some of those lines were not in there. The budget is increased this year. Some of it is restoring lines that needed to be there. And I think many of you know that, but I just wanted to clarify that that was my understanding. The biggest error was not having a consistent accountant or a business manager to be able to look at the budget and create it from a true financial perspective. And then lines had to be added in. So when they say not to blame and everyone's saying not to blame, you've heard a fraction of the stories, right? And we know that it could go on all night. We could tell stories all night. It's not just about our special needs children. It's not about our regular ed. It's not about just one group of people or students. It's about everyone in totality. And I know you understand that, right? They're not coming here, and I'm not speaking for you, but the school committee supports them, right? They're not coming here. I'm not coming to you to say, well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and now look what's happening. They're coming to you, I'm coming to you, Beth is sitting with me, and the other members wish they were here, coming to you to say, what can we do? We have some ideas. Can we find a time that we sit down and just talk through some of these details that I have that you might not know, that you have that I might not, that I have you might not know and you have that I might not know. The problem that we're in right now is that when the town gave the appropriation, when that was approved in May, right, the referendum, we had to reduce the budget by $840,000 because that's what was allocated to the school department. And I have 30 days to present that to the school committee to make that cut, and that was Tuesday night's meeting. And these people were their heart and soul to share the stories. And I know you understand that. But the question I have still sitting here is, what are we going to do so that when the school opens in August? I know I have some ideas, and I hope that we're able to sit down and talk through some of them. As Jason said, is there an opportunity to get some? We put the vote to the taxpayers for the $150 out of that fund for capital projects. Is there an opportunity to do something more? We're willing to do that. It's not you against the school department. It's not the school department. We're not enemies here, right? And then as we talk about these two sides of us and them, these people and our students are in the middle of it. My children went to Fogarty, graduated from Ponteganza High School. I'm a resident. I care as well. And I just need us to be able to be open to conversations and discussions moving forward. That's my ask. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to be heard this evening?
Hi, my name is Dan Neary. I'm a taxpayer. My son goes to the high school, and I'm here today, I support all these teachers, and one of the things, I moved here in 1989, my family moved here, and then I went off to college. I've been working retail 25 years, I just left recently, but part of my role and responsibility in that position was, as a, in retail management, was, you know, looking at the cost of operations, looking at motivating a team to sell, like teachers, right? And then deliver great service, which is to our children. And I think as a town council, at this point, when you look at cost of operations, when you take headcount, I get it, when you're not productive enough, you know, you're gonna have to eliminate headcount. But in this situation, it's more of a budgetary thing. I just think that there should be more of an outcry from you guys to the state and to the school committee to say, okay, we need to challenge, where can we get this money and how can we get this money? Because when you talk about the future of our children, if our head count hasn't gone down in enrollment, and we have kids coming into kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and all these teachers' assistants, guys, we are thinking of when we were in school, and we had one teacher to 20 kids, 25 kids, and that mentality is great, but guess what? You didn't have iPhones. You didn't have AI. You don't have the dangers, you have the dangers today in society. Kids know a lot more than we did when we were that age. And I'm telling you, I think you're gonna have a futuristic problem if you take head count out of your room to maintain your children, because at the end of the day, like, you know, you want your kid to get the best experience possible. Are they gonna get the best experience? No, right? And then guess what's gonna happen? Service is gonna decrease, people are gonna get frustrated. One of the reasons why my wife and I moved here, we were living in New York. We came back to Rhode Island. We decided when we were gonna have a kid, we were gonna do it in Gloucester, because Gloucester school systems were fantastic, right? Now, so I wasn't fortunate enough, my younger brother went, and I know people who are teachers, and I know a lot of people in the community. This community has been great to me and my family. And you know, 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and this community came out for me, and just last year, my son was diagnosed, and this community showed up for me. And I will tell you, I can't thank this community enough for all the support and all the love, but I'm just gonna tell you guys, as a town council, I think we just need to be at a point where we're gonna say, hey, guys, we need to pause. We gotta figure out, where can we find the money? I will tell you, I am home. I recently left, and I have some time. I will volunteer my time to go line by line with you, and I will try to find that money for you. Because one of the things that I was really good at was motivating the team to sell, motivating to deliver great service, right? So the customer gets a great experience. And I was responsible fiscally to my organization and to my company, which I serviced for 25 years and led a store for 12 of those years. So I will tell you, I had to make hard decisions. A lot of times people weren't productive enough. I had to look at cost of operations. But I had to make a decision. What was going to impact the future? What was the service going to be like? Because I'm going to tell you, if you take 13, 23, you take this head count out of the room, our kids are not going to get that experience. And guess what? That's going to trickle down. First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth, all the way through high school. We are fast learning nowadays. It's not like it was before. So when we had to research things, we opened up an Encyclopedia Britannica. Nowadays, they just ask Siri, right? So I just want to say, I think, you know, I'll volunteer my time to help you, because I love this community. I think if you put it to a vote, I don't think anyone's going to say, no, I'm not willing to give $1 to the kids. But I think we need to find a way to say, hey, how do we make up this deficit? And this can be everywhere. And you can take a look and say, okay, in Parks and Recreation, maybe, you know, we appropriated 500,000, maybe we need to go 400, and we need to figure it out. What can we do? Can we do something different? Can we make a volunteer program for Parks and Recreation where the kids can lay mulch as a school credit or something like that? But you gotta think outside the box. Take taxpayer money, put it to a vote. Let's all buy Bitcoin and put it in a town budget. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm telling you, we gotta try to find a solution. All right, thank you. Thank you.
fourth grade teacher at West Gloucester Elementary School. I was not planning on speaking, but I thought this would be a nice segue after what Dr. Palazzo had shared, hearing her ask to connect with you. I recently, this past Monday, took my fourth grade students, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do again moving forward if something doesn't change, to the State House for a field trip. While we were on that field trip, our students had the opportunity to have a legislative, a mock session with our representative, Chippendale. When that was over, my students left, and I found the courage to mosey on up, and I approached Representative Chippendale, and I introduced myself, and I had asked him if he was aware of the budget crisis that is about to dismantle our schools. He was very aware, and the first thing that he shared was that there is a huge disconnect between the school committee and the town council. So, following on from what Dr. Palazzo had shared, Mr. Chippendale and I had further conversation as well, but to be honest, he shared a lot of big words that went really over my head. But it's a really nice segue, hearing her ask for that moment, the representative in a really important seat in the State House shared with me firsthand, the very first thing off of his mouth was that the disconnect is between you and them, and that's not right, something's wrong. So she's asking to connect, and if you don't, shame on you.
I just want to say that we have just we've never turned down an audience with the school committee or Mrs. Plaza. So, saying that.
Would anybody else like to be heard? Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Lewis, 2 Rosewood Drive, North Situate. I was at the school committee meeting on Tuesday and expressed my frustrations with the current situation that we found out back in May what was going on. The student that Miss Maples was talking about, her nonverbal student, is my son. And at this point, I'm not blaming, right? This is clearly 15 years worth of an issue. It seems everybody's doing their best, but to have to come up here, to have to go to school committee meetings and speak in front of my neighbors and a room full of strangers and have to talk about things that are very private and personal to my family and basically airing my son's business out in front of everybody just to beg for the bare minimum, it's extremely frustrating. And to be ping-ponged back and forth and nobody has an answer, and I'm not expecting anybody to have an answer, but obviously this was a problem that everybody's known about for 15 years, whether you were on the school committee or you were on the town council. And I just feel the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And with all due respect at this point, the power is in our hands. We have the option, if things are not happening the way we need them to, and our town is not being represented in a way that we need it to, we have to vote these people out. Whether that's our representative, whether that's somebody on the school committee, we have to vote people in that are going to represent all of our kids and do what we need them to do. Because I mean, you know, there are so many people here that brought up such wonderful points to me. What are we going to do if there's no money? Shut the schools down? And I mean, regardless if your child has special needs or not, what are we going to do? Close the elementary schools, and where are we sending all the kids? So I just hope we're able to, to figure this out. But I mean, at this point, I'm so frustrated. The only thing that I can think of is if Mike Chippendale isn't going to answer anybody's phone calls, or Delvin Cruz isn't. Well, maybe they need to know that their seats, they shouldn't be so comfortable in them. And we need to show up and vote them out. And we need to run and represent these
committees and councils and these seats, because this is ridiculous. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard? All right, well, thank you all. Thank you all for being here this evening. Thank you for sharing your concerns. It is heard, so. We'll take a 5-minute recess so everybody, so we can get on to the rest of our meeting, so.
activism, family values, and community service. The Chepachet Grange is part of more than 2,100 hometown granges across the United States. And the Chepachet Grange number 38, organized in 1907, has always enriched our community and celebrates the importance of citizens in our community that share their ideals and give unselfishly of their time and effort. And on June 3rd, 2025, the Chepachet Grange will acknowledge the good works of people in the community that give of themselves at a Community Services Award Night. For the 2025 honorees, the Chepachet Grange has chosen the following: Melissa A. Bouvier, Assistant of the Year; Philip R. Liho, Granger of the Year; Lieutenant Jeffrey M. Jennison, Law Enforcement Officer of the Year; Roy Shippey, Firefighter of the Year; Jessica R. Warren, Teacher of the Year; St. Vincent de Paul and St. Eugene's Church Conference, Groups of the Year. It's a pleasure and an honor to acknowledge these people in our community for their good work, as they are the support that keep Gloucester strong and secure. And the Gloucester Town Council and the Town Clerk wish to congratulate and express our appreciation to these citizens on this occasion. And we wish to thank the membership of the Chepachet Grange for their hard work, sense of community, dedication to our town, and good sense to honor those chosen for the 2025 Community Service Awards. Councilor William A. Worthy, Jr., President; Councilor Walter M. Ostier, III, Vice President; Councilor Jonathan Burlingame; Councilor Stephanie L. Calisi; Councilor Cheryl A. Greathouse, to be adopted by the Gloucester Town Council June 5th, 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So we also prepared individual citations for each of the honorees that were presented to them by Councilor Calisi. So I just need a motion to ratify the Town Council citations honoring the recipients of Chepachet Grange 2025 Community Service Award for Melissa A. Bouvier and the others. So anybody like to make a motion?
Right, and I could have so moved it.
Yeah.
You were almost
Nice
there.
try, nice try.
You wanna bring this one down?
I'll make a motion to ratify Town Council citations honoring the recipients of a Chepachet Grange 2025 Community Service Award: Melissa A. Bouvier, Philip R. Liho, Lieutenant Jeffrey M. Jennison, Roy Shippey, Jessica R. Warren, and St. Vincent de Paul and St. Eugene's Church Conference.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and just congratulate everybody once again for their recognition. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Resolution 2025-07 to adopt the FEMA-approved strategy for reducing risks from natural hazards, Town of Gloucester 2024. Jerry Mosca, EMA Director, has requested the following. Dated May 8th, 2025, to the Honorable Town Council. Subject: Gloucester Hazard Mitigation Plan Update. Dear Honorable Councilors, the Gloucester EMA Hazard Mitigation Committee and the contractor hired using a hazard mitigation grant from RAEMA have spent the last year updating our mitigation plan. The attached plan is the culmination of that work. This plan has been reviewed by RAEMA and approved by FEMA. Once adopted by the Town of Gloucester, the plan will be effective for 5 years, during which time we can apply for mitigation grants as well as other FEMA grants. I request that this Honorable Town Council adopt this plan by resolution. I would also like to thank the Hazard Mitigation Committee for its work and recommendations completing this plan, which was invaluable. Respectfully submitted, Gerald Mosca, Director. So, Jerry, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just wanted to be here in case you had a question.
Anybody have any
I know
questions
it's
for
it's
Jerry?
a long plan, I think it's 150 pages.
I started reading that thing and I gave up.
Yeah, well, the first part is basically history of the town. It basically sets forth our priorities to mitigate disasters based on historically what has happened to our town, and we've prioritized the hazards, like hurricanes and snowstorms and power outages, things like that. And what we can do, the projects, we set up a list of projects which FEMA requires, that if we have the funds or we get grants to do it, we will do that to mitigate the disaster that could happen and save our residents some
disasters that are, I didn't go through the whole plan, is there like a list, a comprehensive list, or is it, I don't need to know them all.
Well, what we do is we use the ones that affect our town the most. And we prioritize it, like flooding, hurricanes, dam or failure or breach, thunderstorms and lightning, extreme temperatures, mosquito-borne illnesses, and snow and ice storms are the ones that impact us the most. Hurricanes are towards the rear, although it doesn't happen often, but if it does, it's going to hit us hard. And we prioritize it based on that, and then we choose, the committee chose projects for the town to help when we saw shortfalls. In a flooding area, maybe a culvert needed to be increased, and maybe we don't have the money to do it now, so we put it on there. I don't think that was one of them, that's just an example. So I think one of them was putting lightning suppressors on the roofs of the town buildings, because I think we had a couple of hits where we lost all the computers. I think one was the police department, and one was the town hall at one point a few years back. So we can do that. We get some funds. That'll allow me to also put in for mitigation grant money to do those projects. So, I don't know if that was a long answer to a short question.
I just didn't know if there was a comprehensive list, and then that's all.
There is a list in there, yeah, and it actually goes pretty meticulously into each storm. It gives the history of all the damages that we've had here in the past from each disaster.
All the roads are wrecked because of the storms we had.
Roads are a problem. Roads are a problem, yes.
All right, so.
But I would recommend or ask you to adopt this, and it'll be good for 5 years, and then we'll have to update it again.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So we have a resolution. Anybody like to read that? Everybody jump.
To adopt the FEMA approved strategy for reducing risks from natural hazards, Town of Gloucester 2024. Whereas the Town of Gloucester recognizes the threat natural hazards pose to people and property, and whereas the Town of Gloucester has prepared multi-hazard mitigation plan, hereby known as the Strategy for Reducing Risks from National Disaster Hazards, Town of Gloucester 2024, in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas the 2024 plan identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in Gloucester from impacts of future hazards and disasters. And whereas adoption by the Town Council of this plan demonstrates their commitment to hazard mitigation and achieving goals outlined in the Strategy for Reducing Risks from Natural Hazards, Town of Gloucester 2024. And now therefore be it resolved that the Gloucester Town Council accepts and adopts the Strategy for Reducing Risks from Natural Hazards, Town of Gloucester 2024. William A. Worthy Jr., Gloucester Town Council President, Jean M. Fecto, CFC Town Clerk, dated this 5th day of June 2025.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and just to let everybody know, this plan is available for viewing in the town clerk's office. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have consent items, discussion and/or action. A, approval of town council minutes, regular meeting of May 15th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the town council minutes May 15th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion that's made and seconded for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have unfinished business, boards and commissions, discussion and or action. First, appointments, discussion and or action, parade committee. One, alternate number 2 and alternate number 3. And do we have anybody to nominate at this time?
Haven't heard anything. Did we run an ad? We ran an ad, right?
Yeah.
A couple.
If we don't have anybody, entertain a motion to table.
Yep, so I'll make a motion to table the appointments alternate 2 and alternate 3 to the parade committee, to the town council meeting of, do we want to do it the next one, or?
You can say the next
For the
time.
next meeting.
Second?
And motion's made and seconded for discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have appointments, board and commission, and commission appointments, terms concurrent with the town council to expire 12/31/2026, and discussion and interaction. One is Economic Development Commission, one ad hoc non-voting member, number one, one, too many numbers thrown at me here. One ad hoc non-voting member, number two. Do we have any new names? I see nobody at this time. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to table these.
Motion to table the appointments of ad hoc non-voting member number one and ad hoc non-voting member two to the Economic Development Commission, to the town council, to the next town council meeting.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion that's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have new business. So discussion and/or action, an amendment to the annual town council meeting schedule and summer schedule. So the clerk has brought this to the council because of our two upcoming holidays. The next regularly scheduled meeting is to be June 19th, which happens to be Juneteenth. That was added to our holiday schedule back on 3/21/24. After that, the next meeting day is scheduled for July 3rd. Well, we know what happens the day after. So the council has to work out a schedule for basically for June and July. And typically we look sometimes, depending on what's going on, for a summer schedule in August as well. So first of all, we want to determine when would be our next meeting, because we definitely need to have another meeting this month.
I like the June 26th recommendation here.
Okay. Does anybody have a problem with the 26th?
Let me just, one second, let's check my calendar, say that.
Yeah, that's a Thursday.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, June 26th is good.
Jean, you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. And how about going forward as well for the meeting of July 3rd? So obviously, I don't think we're having a meeting on July 3rd, but we should have do we want to schedule another meeting other than the second meeting of July? Or we just want to have one meeting in July, and then if we need something, we can have a special meeting?
I think that's good.
Want to do it that way?
One in July.
One, and then if we do need it.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So, go ahead.
Yeah,
July date.
I'll make them, no, because it would just be the second Thursday.
July
in August.
17th.
So I'm gonna make a motion to amend the 2025 annual meeting schedule for town council meetings as follows. Move the meeting date of June 19th to June 26th, 2025, and cancel the regularly scheduled meeting of July 3rd, 2025.
All right, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion? So I think that'll work okay, and like I said, if we do need to meet, we can have a special meeting, we can call one of those. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have personnel, safety services. We do have a resignation, police officer, discussion and or action. The chief has submitted the resignation of Senior Patrol Patrick Kramer, effective Friday, May 23rd, 2025. You have a motion?
Motion to accept the resignation of Senior Patrolman Patrick Kramer, effective May 23rd, 2025.
You have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have compensatory time payout, animal control, discussion and or action. Chief Delpreet has forwarded the following request to the Honorable Town Council from Chief Joseph Delpreet, dated May 28th, 2025. Animal Control Officer compensation time. It is respectfully requested that Animal Control Officer Jennifer Grundy be allowed to buy out 112 hours of her accumulated compensation time in the next payroll period. The buyout amount will be 112 hours times $26.45 hourly rate for a total of $2,962.40. The Animal Control Officer regularly accumulates compensation time on after hours and weekend call-outs. The current 2025 fiscal year budget can support this request. The Animal Control Department is operating efficiently with one weekend shelter worker and currently no assistant animal control officer. The animal control officer has been on numerous after-hours and weekend call-outs, accruing compensation time since March of this year. Thank you for your consideration with this request. Respectfully submitted, Joseph Delpreet, Chief of Police. The chief's here. I don't know if anybody has any questions for him.
Didn't we, was it last time we did a payout on what for the animal? We did something at the payout recently.
We did it about 3 months ago, 40 hours.
What was that for? Same thing?
It's all comp time, for comp time and tribulation.
And your budget is not gonna,
Right, the line item, okay, I'm sorry, thank you, Walter.
Thank you, Chief.
In the animal control budget, we have the salary for the animal control officer, then we have an assistant animal control officer salary, which includes the shelter workers and an assistant animal. We don't have that assistant animal control officer, and there's just around $7,000 left in there right now. So that would, if we pay that out, that would probably be left over to carry us for and then some to the end of this year.
okay, yeah, because we're really tight on the budget that we had passed, so
Right.
that's my concern about.
But that's this year's budget.
That ends June 30th.
Not the new one.
Oh, that's the
approved.
Yeah,
fuel.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Going forward, we did reduce that
Yeah.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
okay.
The budget board, so it would have to be a little cap on that.
Okay,
Okay?
yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Motion to authorize the payout of $120 of accumulated compensation time in the amount of $2,962.40 from the 2025 budget to Animal Control Officer Jennifer Grundy and the next payroll period.
That's from the 24, 25 budget.
Yeah. We just need the specific, that's the 24-25 budget.
Yeah.
20, to the 2024 budget, 24-25 budget.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the Recreation Department, appointments, summer 2025 recreation positions. Council has received a request for appointments of summer recreation positions from the Recreation Director. For most positions, there are recommendations for parking lot attendants. Council will hold a lottery of all names to determine the position. Tonight's that night, Bob? This is like one of the biggest nights of the
This is
year.
like your highlight night. Don't be crowds, and applause, and bingo up top there or something.
Oh, no. Oh, we went low tech after Walter's reaction to last year, so.
Right. Go back to,
Negative reaction.
well, it was just another tradition that was kind of went by the wayside. We went high tech last year. Except this year, we might not have anybody to pull the names.
I think my liaison could probably pull it for us this evening.
All right, so,
We could do the lottery now.
yeah,
Include it in the motion.
yep.
All right, so in terms of the lottery, we have two individuals from Foster that will be placed at the end. That's Laurel and Simone Canoyer. The rest of our applicants are Gloucester residents. There are two names that unfortunately were omitted from your copies. That's Emily, E-M-I-L-E, Bovia, B-O-V-I-A, and Sarah with an H, Pash, P-A-S-C-H. Parking lot attendants, Sarah Pash.
Sarah?
Yes.
E-A-S-C-H.
Correct. And when they're selected to the lottery, they will also be approved at $15 per hour, and their start date will be the same with June 20th.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Music.
Be busy.
Good luck.
Pick a winner.
Got one.
Got two.
Got
I'll
two.
shoot two. Just pick one, it's okay.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
Oh, no, it's just
No,
one.
it's one, just pick.
Jacob DeRoche.
So that'll be number one.
How many are we picking?
They're all sticking together.
We're gonna pick all
All
of
of
them.
them.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
And
we
then-
just run through, okay.
Exactly.
Chase Braxton.
Braxton, number 2.
Gotcha.
And Ryan Berryman.
Ryan Berryman, number 3. Jackson Bernier, number
Bernier.
6.
We have Naomi Miller.
Naomi Miller, number 7.
Total blast.
Jenna Lowell.
Jenna
What we did
Lowell,
earlier
number
today.
8.
Sarah Posh.
Sarah Posh, number 9.
And we have Anthony Cato?
Cato.
Cato.
Anthony Cato, number 10.
And then Laurel and Simone.
And Laurel and Simone will be 11 and 12 if we get to that point.
Okay.
All right, and then outside of those two individuals, Walt, we do have 2 lifeguards that are from Foster, and that happens to be Adam and Ryan McAtee. Obviously, lifeguards are a difficult position to
Yeah.
pick up, but outside of that, we have all Gloucester residents being hired this year.
Good. Yeah, I know lifeguards, that's difficult to fill.
It is, and it's,
Not just here, throughout the whole state.
yes, and it's becoming a little bit more difficult. Some of our neighbors are exponentially increasing the rate of pay for lifeguards, so it's something that we may have to look into again moving forward for next summer.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion. Somebody would like to read that, I can read it, I don't like to make the motions, but I can read it, or somebody else can read through that.
That's at the bottom of BG.
Yep, arts and crafts instructors.
Okay.
So
You want me to
I'm
do it,
looking-
or
I'm
what do you
looking
want
for a
to do?
motion to appoint the following to the
Okay.
2025 summer rec program.
All right, make a motion to appoint the following to the 2025 summer recreation program. Arts and crafts instructors are Samantha Chapman, Isabel Shields, and Riley Shields. These appointments will be at the rate of pay of $15 per hour and are effective June 20th, 2025. The lifeguards, and so these are contingent upon passage of certification testing. Sarah Brown, Madison Caramenti, Adam McAtee, Ryan McAtee, Owen Marchand, Jack Rockwell, Reagan Sedzik, and Sarah Sullivan, all at $20 an hour. These appointments will be a rate of hourly pay as noted in their effective June 20th, 2025. Parks and Grounds, we have Chase Braxton, $15 an hour, Mario Gerard, $20 an hour, Leah Sagan, $15 an hour, and Owen St. Cyr, $15 an hour. These appointments are effective June 20th, 2025. Lottery results. All right, so it's everybody but those other 2, right?
Yeah, and this is for parking lot
So
attendant.
parking lot attendant lottery results are all at $15 an hour. Jackson Bernier,
I think we have to put it in number, yeah, the number.
in order.
I have it if you
Jacob
want me
DeRoche
to.
is first, right?
Yes, correct. Chase Braxton is number 2.
Chase Braxton,
Ryan Berryman,
Ryan Berryman,
Giada Nasso,
Giada Nasso,
Emily Bouvier,
Emily Beauvais, Sarah
Jackson Bernier,
Jackson Bernier,
Naomi Miller,
Naomi Miller,
Jenna Lowell,
Jenna Lowell,
Sarah Pash,
Sarah Pash,
Anthony Cato,
Anthony Cato.
then Lauren Cornier.
Laurel.
No, they're not.
Are they?
No, they're being appointed, they just go at the bottom of
They
the
go at
list.
the bottom, so they're being appointed, okay, it's because they're from Foster. Laurel Cornier and Simone Cornier. Effective June 20th, 2025.
That's $15 an hour.
Program supervisors, Riley McCormick. This appointment will be at the rate of pay of $20 per hour and is effective June 20th, 2025. Tennis aides, Giselle Sharon, Liam Elderkin, Mason Perillo, and Christian Wagner. These appointments will be at a rate of pay of $15 an hour and are effective June 20th, 2025.
Can I pause you right there for a moment?
Yep.
There's actually supposed to be Mason and Max Perillo hired as both tennis aides. That's my omission, that's my mistake.
Okay, so I'll add Max Perillo.
Max Perillo, paid at the rate of $15, start date June 20th, 2025.
Tennis instructor Elijah Goodwin. These appointments will be the rate of pay $24 per hour and is effective June 20th, 2025. Water safety aides / LIT. Kiara Barboza, Andrew Bacheri, Kira Eldricken, Addie Gaudreau,
Isla.
Isla, thank you, Gaudreau, Stephen Law, Eli Machon, Nora Sorrentino. These appointments will be at the rate of pay $15 per hour and are effective June 20th, 2025.
All right, so do we have a second?
Second?
All right, so I have a motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? Bob, anything to add?
No?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very
Coming
much,
up fast,
appreciate it.
June 20th, only a couple weeks away.
Bob, did you need an agenda item for the next meeting for additional appointments?
At this time, it doesn't appear as though I will need it, but in the event that some things pop up, I would appreciate that, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, a request to carry over vacation time to building zoning office. It's discussion under action. It's dated June 5th, 2025 to the town council members from Dennis Began, building official, regarding carryover unused vacation hours for Denise Catteray, building clerk. I'm waiting to ask permission to carry over 97 and a half hours, 13 days, additional hours of unused vacation time for my clerk, Denise Catteray. Unfortunately, time off was not feasible due to the building inspector's retirement in May in 2024 and my hiring in July. There was a learning curve in the material that we both needed to go over together, which made it difficult if she was not there. Thank you for your consideration. That's the end of the memo.
I'll make a motion to authorize the carryover of 97.5 hours of unused vacation time to the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 for employee Denise Catteray.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All right, any further discussion?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. And again, this isn't something we do on a normal basis.
I understand why.
Yeah, I understand, yeah, it makes sense. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did I catch everybody?
I said aye.
Okay. Yeah.
was
Motion carries. All right, next we have request to extend IFB 2016-02 Simply Clean contract, Senior Center to June 18th, 2026. Discussion and/or action. The council received the following from the Senior Center Director to the Honorable Town Council, 5/28/2025. I am requesting that we renew the contract with Simply Clean for the cleaning of the Senior Center. Wendy Lee of Simply Clean does a wonderful job. Our members often make mention of how immaculate the center is kept. She also has great lines of communication with myself and the DPW to keep us informed of any maintenance issues that she comes across. Lastly, the rate has not been increased in the last 8 years. Thank you for your consideration. Respectfully, Melissa Bouvier. That's the end of the memo. The bid extension terms were to extend the above referenced bid with pricing terms and conditions remaining the same until June 18th, 2026, with the option to extend an additional 12 months if mutually agreed upon by both parties. The bid amount was $1,500 monthly with additional cost as stated in contract as needed. So, do we have a motion?
Motion to renew the contract between Simply Clean and the Town of Gloucester for the cleaning services at the Gloucester Senior Center at the pricing terms and conditions stated in current contract. Said renewal to be effective until June 18, 2026.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. Next, we have Board of Contracts and Purchases, number 1, RFP number 2025-04, statistical evaluation, discussion and interaction. The council received a memo from the finance director. The memo is Honorable Town Council from Elizabeth Beltram, finance director. RFP number 2025-04, statistical reappraisal and revaluation of taxable real property within the corporate limits of the town of Glocester, Rhode Island, effective December 31st, 2025. So this is dated June 5th, 2025. Gloucester Board of Contracts met on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Based upon the research and recommendation of Jessica Parker, tax assessor, the board unanimously voted to recommend award of the proposal to Catalyst for the year 1 price of $155,000, with a year 2 option for continued services at a cost of $12,685.75. Respectively, Elizabeth A. Beltram, and that's the end of the memo. We have a motion?
So is that different from the Vision that normally does it?
Yes, yes it is.
We normally use Vision and now we're changing?
Yeah, we had, 2 people bid, the Catalyst and Vision, and, Jessica shocked me, I'll tell you. I just assumed it would be Vision again, but she did a lot of research. She did some Zoom demonstrations. She talked to other municipalities that use this Catalyst. And she even got, we asked her so many questions. Chris even had asked if these other communities were showing less complaints from residents. And we also brought that up. Our residents, year after year, have complained more and more about Vision. They're not responsive to us and all that. And you know, Jessica, we told her it's a big step. Are you ready? And she was more than ready to try somebody that might be better fit for the town.
And then the difference between $155,000 for year 1 and $12,000 for year 2, is that just because it's like a cleanup in year 2?
In year 2 and 3, I believe there was not a charge. It's the way it comes out, year 1 is more, but then year 2 and 3 is much less than Vision. So I think it comes out close. If not, we save some money with Catalyst.
Yeah, I think it was about 28,000 we saved.
All over the 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a statistical reappraisal. So
Because
that's
the
why
first,
it's-
the first year they have to download all our data and you know, get us started up, sure. But it was pretty impressive. And she did a lot of work, so I felt comfortable voting in favor of it.
Okay. I will, I'll make a motion to award RFP number 2025-04, statistical reappraisal and reevaluation of taxable real property located within the corporate limits of the town of Gloucester, Rhode Island, effective December 31st, 2025, to Catalyst Tax and CAMA Inc. at the bid quote of $155,000 for year 1 and a 2-year option for continued services at $12,685.75.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion?
I just wanted to remind council, we do have money in a set-aside account. We've been slowly saving, so it's not something we have to suddenly come up with the money for.
Right, I think they put it aside this year too. I think there was some money put aside for it.
Every year we do. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a request for approval of EDC contribution to place branding campaign, discussion and interaction. The council has received requests from the chair of the EDC to the Honorable Town Council from Bernadette MacArthur, EDC Chair, on behalf of the EDC, dated June 5th, 2025. Subject request for approval of EDC contribution to place branding campaign. Dear members of the Gloucester Town Council, on behalf of the Economic Development Commission, EDC, I am writing to respectfully request formal approval of a $1,700 contribution to be made from the EDC budget to support the Place branding campaign currently underway. The approval to apply these funds to the project is an administrative formality that has been requested by the Finance Office in the interest of transparency and for the purpose of audit trail. The Place Branding Initiative is a collaborative effort designed to strengthen Gloucester's identity, foster community pride, attract visitors and residents, and support long-term economic prosperity. Several community members and organizations have already demonstrated their support through participation and financial contributions. We believe it's important to the EDC to financially contribute as well in order to demonstrate that we share the same vested interest in the campaign's success as our community partners. Financial involvement underscores the Commission's commitment to advancing strategic economic initiatives that benefit the entire town. Having received verbal guidance indicating that this was an allowable use of EDC budget funds, EDC members have voted unanimously in support of allocating the funds in the amount of $1,700 to the project. At this time, EDC is simply seeking documented approval to proceed with the application of funds to ensure clarity for accounting and record-keeping purposes. Thank you for your continued support. Respectfully, Bernadette MacArthur, EDC Chair. Does anybody have any questions? I see Bernadette's up.
I have a quick question. So, do they have to always request to spend the money from there if it's a committee or a?
My understanding is once the council appropriates it, it's a matter of it being approved by
them.
by
Right?
them.
So they don't necessarily need to come here for that.
But I think this is, by virtue of the memo, the finance director wanted it to be on your radar. I assume you've appropriated this money.
Yeah, we do already appropriate, I think,
For this
last
purpose?
year, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the EDC does have a small budget, so they can to do these types of things. But I don't have a problem with the finance director making sure that, it's paper trail, for lack of a better term, for audit.
Okay. I'll make a motion to authorize the Economic Development Commission to utilize existing funds, existing budget funds FY 2024 to 2025 in the amount of $700 for the Place Branding campaign currently underway.
May I have a second? Second. All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm just curious about that. Like, so we don't do this with all the departments, so.
No, we usually don't.
Well, most departments don't have a budget. They do,
Most boards and
boards, I mean,
commissioners.
Boards,
yeah.
departments have budgets, obviously, you don't.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it.
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have legislative updates, discussion, and interaction. Does anybody have any legislative updates? I don't know, maybe you've seen some of the emails from Karen based on, about some of the more intrusive zoning that the state's trying to impose on our communities. So the league's doing what they do, which is not, and for us, doesn't appear to be a lot, so. Any others? No? Town council correspondence. I do have, I just want to thank Bob and everybody who attended and made the Memorial Day parade possible. And I think I would not be alone in saying that was probably one of the best parades that we had. Not just because of the weather. Bob, nice job with the weather.
First Memorial Day in rain in years.
But also, everything went very smoothly. You know, the bands even showed up early. And you had everything well planned out, and you did a nice job with the speech too, Bob, so we appreciate that. So everything,
Cannon did fire off really quick up top when she let that wick. She was kind of surprised by it.
I think we all were, so.
It was like, boom.
But I just want to thank everybody, the whole community for making that. That's an important day in town, and went off really well, so.
It's good turnout, for sure.
That was the other thing. The turnout was fantastic as far as spectators, and it seems like the last 4 or 5 years, it's even before COVID, we started to see an uptick, and that's a good thing. So I just wanted to thank Bob. You herded all the cats on that one, so thank you. Department heads, I see you. Well, we did have Gary. Gary's out there. Bob?
I do have a question. So, For the past couple of years, we've been running some evening clinics up at Gloucester Memorial Park. We had a individual volunteer to do a basketball clinic. The first year we did it, it was just for 3 days. Last year we did it actually 6 days for 2 weeks. I'd like to be able to expand this clinic kind of offering underneath recreation, but I lack specific knowledge to run flag football or soccer or something along those lines. I've spoken to Beth about the potential of having some 1099 kind of employees, like a stipend employee. I know that when Dave Chase was working with us, he kind of fell underneath this umbrella where he could not earn more than $600 for his participation. I'm not asking for additional funding out of my budget, but I think my question is, A, am I able to go ahead and pursue this avenue? And then B, would this be something that the council would need to approve if it was like a 1099 outside vendor that we were hiring to provide lead instruction where myself, my staff, and the volunteers would be providing the assistance? That's where I was unclear on whether or not that was an appropriate use of my budget.
So I think as far as the 1099, I think we have to approve that because it's an employee, even though it's 1099. But
It's a contractor.
They won't pay it if you don't
right,
sign it.
yeah. So as far as the other,
What was the other aspect, Mr.?
So it was whether or not the council needs to approve these individuals as 1099s, and then what I think that was really it. Can I go this avenue, and does council have to approve?
Yeah, I think the council has to approve employees.
Okay.
Because it is a contract. And I assume these employees will be, you notify the trust, you're aware of that, so that they have covered by insurance.
Correct.
As long as they're under your jurisdiction, they'll be covered by insurance.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done that with basketball now for the past couple of years, informing them of what it is that we were doing, so they were aware and who the individual was that was kind of our point person.
I think the council votes to approve the use of the money for that purpose and notifies the trust. Because obviously, salaries out of his budget is a different item.
So then I guess my only question is, and obviously I'll go that route, so what would the difference then be between an outside vendor such as our timing individuals that come and do the road race? So we obviously pay them for a service.
But don't you submit that out? Did you do off the MPA or do you go out to bid?
No, it was prior to me starting recreation. It was a vendor that we had a relationship with, and so I've continued with them over the years. I haven't even sought additional.
So I guess I need some clarity. Is when your budget appropriation, that line item, what is it described as?
It's just the 4th of July road race, so it's not like a specific line item to second wind timing. It's just
Yeah, that's fine.
road race.
But this is what you need to run the road race.
Correct.
I think, as long as you're complying with any kind of purchasing rules, then you can do that.
Okay. And so that wouldn't apply to this.
How much is this vendor? How much is it? Under 5,000?
Correct.
So you're within the state purchasing rules, we have to just check the town. But you basically do sole source with this vendor.
Correct. Okay. So the end all be all is bring it to council, have them approved, and then we can still go that 1099 route instead of a W-2 and I-9
Right,
and all
do 1099, and just let's confirm, I don't know if the town has its own maximum purchasing amount on the Board of Contract and Supply. Is it equal to the state, 5,000?
Yes.
Okay, so you can go sole source as long as you stay under 5,000?
Correct.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You said it was like 200, right, for basketball person? Oh, no, that was Mr. Chase, it was 200.
No, Mr. Chase, we kept his budget under $600 while he was working with us, because that was the maximum amount I was told that we could pay out to him.
It's not gonna be a lot of money, that's all.
Yeah, it's coming out of his budget, so you can work it.
You
so.
can do it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
What I would say, just, Mr. President, if these two, uses are gonna be in your budget every year, you could bring it up during the budget time,
Okay.
and they could approve it
Okay.
for those purposes at that time, instead of, in other words, instead of just giving them, let's say, $5,000 for the 4th of July, road race, it could be including hiring 1099s, subject to trust, and obviously the sole source use of the vendor not to exceed purchasing. If you wanted to put that in your budget request to save a step,
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't think the council would care.
It does make sense. It was a, kind of a thought just popped into our mind, or my mind, as we kind of were getting closer.
It
like-
seems like you're doing the same thing every year.
Yes, correct. Awesome. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Any other department heads? Chief?
Is the chief, did he leave?
He left.
Oh.
He was just here for the comp
Well,
pay.
because I wanted to ask him the exact amount. The, Grange donated, I don't know if it was 1,600 or 2,500, but quite a bit of money to the animal
Oh,
control.
that's right, I think it was 1,700.
1,700, so it was in the middle
Ish.
there, yeah, so it was a very nice donation. They gave their walkathon money, which was, yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I was gonna ask him the exact
I'm glad you
amount.
brought that up, because we should do like an official thank you.
Yeah, yeah, the Grange, they used their walkathon money, and it went specifically to the Glocester Animal Control.
Boards and commissions, and Jerry, you're all set, right? All right, open forum, we already had that, but if anybody would like to speak.
He forgot, he lost it.
You forget about that, Walt?
No, did not. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to convene an executive session.
I'll make a motion to convene seek to convene to close executive session pursuant to A, RIGL 42-46-5A2, sessions pertaining to collective bargaining, litigation, or work sessions pertaining to collective bargaining or litigation. 1, discussion by council, vote, or other action, RE, pending IBPO grievance.
We have a second?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Clerk,
Do we
roll
need a
call.
roll?
You gotta do a
Yeah.
roll call
Can we have a
vote.
roll call, please?
Councilor Burlingame?
Aye.
Councilor Calucci?
Aye.
Councilor Greathouse? Aye. Councilor Steele?
Aye. All right, take 5 minutes.
Two 5-minute breaks, I love it.